Welcome to Cookin' in the Canton Kitchen. If you're anything like me, you're always on the lookout for new and easy recipes, and today you are really in for a treat. Today we will be making a mouth-watering appetizer with the owner of Busy Lizzie Bakery and one of the vendors from the Canton Farmers Market, Sheila Ray.
Thank you.
Welcome, Sheila. We're so glad you're here.
I'm glad to be here. This is going to be fun.
And what is the recipe that we're working on today?
We are going to make homemade bread in 3 minutes and make it into roll-ups, so we can use it as an appetizer.
Yum.
Does that sound good?
Yes, let's get started.
We will. The first trick is a mixer, but you can do it by hand. The mixer gives it in about 3, by hand about 5. And what we're going to start with, and we're going to go through each ingredient so everybody has an idea, because once you learn the basics, then you can do anything you want. If you had leftover oatmeal for breakfast, you could actually throw it in here. So, but we'll learn the basics to start with. So we're going to start out with a unbleached flour. And I tell people, start with unbleached, high gluten flour. This is not for celiacs who cannot have gluten, but it is a high glutinous flour, and it is unbleached.
How much are you putting in?
3 cups.
3 cups, okay. I'm with you.
So to every 3 cups, we're gonna put a tablespoon of yeast. And you see it kind of here, everyone goes, oh, yeast comes in those little 3 packets. Forget those, leave them at the store and go to like Gordon's Foods and get one of their commercial yeast. And they come in a little square air packet, and when you pop it, it kind of, everything goes loose. It's awesome. My kids love to do that. And you pour it into a quart jar. And on the top of that quart jar, you want to put today's date or a year from now, as long as the date on the package is within that time frame, because you have a year to use this. The economics to that is this jar full is going to cost you about the same as buying 2 of those little strips of 3. Actually, it could even be less.
And you don't get a lot in those little strips.
No, you don't. So we're going to do a tablespoon of yeast to every cup of flour. Now, if you made this a bigger recipe, you just make the adjustment. So it's 3 to 1. Okay?
Gotcha. 3 to 1.
Yep. The next thing you're going to do is you need to determine, am I going to use this for cinnamon rolls, pizza dough, that kind of thing?
Something sweeter or not sweet?
Right.
Okay.
Right. So we're going to make it into what I call roll-ups, which is like making pizza. So I just want a little sugar because I want to use this in 30 minutes. The whole point of the sugar is for the yeast to feed on it. That's what makes it rise. Without it, it needs more time to sit, because it will feed on the flour if it has all day and through, But if you don't have a lot of time, or you don't want it to take a lot of time, add a little sugar.
You need the sugar,
Yep.
okay.
And you could add as much as a 1/4 cup if you were making cinnamon rolls. But a tablespoon will be like our starting point, okay?
Perfect.
Then we use extra virgin olive oil. I talk to people a lot about olive oils and coconut. There are cold presses, and you want cold pressed oils. It's healthier, it's better for our heart. The extra virgin olive oil, what they do is it's the first press of the olives. If you wait and you get the virgin olive oil, that is the second press. And what they do is they let it set, and then they with a chemical, and then they press it again. So it's losing some of its nutrients now. We've now added a chemical to it, which we don't need. So you want extra virgin. The third press actually is adding a vegetable oil to those same olives they did way back over here, and they let it set again, and they press it again. It's the cheapest oil. You might as well be using a vegetable.
So we want the first press.
You want extra virgin olive oil.
Extra virgin.
If you think your family can't handle the overpower of the flavor, because I even use that in my cakes. But if you think the first couple times, I don't know if my kids are going to do that, water it down with another oil. You know what I mean? Still buy the extra virgin, but add either a little butter or a little vegetable oil to kind of get them used to it, because eventually they won't notice it's there.
Good to know. I feel so enlightened.
So we're going to, again, this is another trick to making good bread. Do I want this to be crunchy, or do I want it to be soft? If you want it crunchy, it's a little more oil. If you want it soft, it's a little less oil.
So what are we doing today?
We're going to go a tablespoon.
Okay, a tablespoon.
But this is not a true tablespoon, as you can see. By the way, if I was at home, I would just pour it. All right.
Well, you're the expert. You can do that.
I can do that. All right. The next thing we're going to add is salt. And I use kosher salt for most all my baking, or sea salt. Sea salt I do for my cooking, like my meats and my vegetables. But for breads, I use kosher.
And why do you use that?
If you take and you test salts, table salt will actually burn the tip of your tongue. So what do you think it's doing to your stomach? And my best suggestion for table salt is to take it and add a little water to it and pour it in between your pavers and your front walkway, and it will kill the ground for 5 years. What do you think it does to our stomachs? So kind of leave that behind. People say, well, what about the iodine? We get food from all over the world now, and the reason iodine was added is because we ate food only off of our lots. Now, like with the Canton market, you can go to the Canton Farmers Market, you buy produce from a bunch of different vendors. They have different ground.
Sure.
So you're getting different nutrients because you're buying it from different vendors instead of just your backyard. We're going to add a teaspoon of salt, and if I would be measuring this, but I don't measure very much at home either. Once you learn the basics, you know how to do it. It's kind of a dump recipe actually.